What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of the On Purpose podcast, where it's our privilege and our pleasure to be here with you to get you thinking, get you reflecting, maybe even changing your behaviors a little bit. And this week, it's an episode I've been thinking about for a while, and I've had this discussion with different groups of leaders I've been able to talk with, and just individuals in general. And it's something that honestly drives me nuts. And that is the concept of fair and equal being the same thing. Fair and equal being the same thing. And here's my question for you. Is treating everyone equally actually fair? And how do we confuse the terms equal and fairness in our leadership, in our daily lives, and our relationships? Right? And I want to kind of go talk about that. And here's something that comes to mind is, say I have $100 and I have two people that are doing something for me, are supposed to do something for me. And of those two people, one excels and goes above and beyond, does everything and does it top notch and high quality. And I don't even have to double check it. Like, it's perfect. The other one cuts corners. I have to watch them constantly. I have to pay attention to everything they're doing. Yet, if I want to treat them equal, that $100 goes 50-50. But what have I done to the person that actually cared about the performance? What have I done to the person that actually gave more? Did I diminish their ability to do that again? Did I challenge them to say, okay, well, maybe I won't work as hard because this person over here did way less than me and got the exact same reward? Right? See, that's equal, but is that fair? And here's what I would challenge you to think about is that treating equal is the opportunity. That's how I look at it, right? Equal means we both have the same opportunity. All the employees have the same opportunity to excel. The players on the team have the same opportunity to perform. The kids in your classroom have the same opportunity to learn. That's equal, the opportunity. Fairness is, what do you do with that opportunity? Right? Because I don't want to take the person that cuts corners, requires me to supervise them all the time, double check their work. I don't want to reward that behavior by giving them equally the same thing that the high performer gets. I don't want to condone that behavior. I want to challenge them to be better. And maybe by going fairness, when they see, wow, I only got 20 of the $80 and this guy, or 20 of the $100 and my coworker got 80, maybe I want to be more like them. Maybe now I will challenge them to step up because the reward was based on their performance, not the opportunity. They had the opportunity, they just chose not to perform. Conversely, if I go equal in that scenario, what have I done to the motivation for the person that did choose to excel? Well, hopefully they're intrinsically motivated, meaning inside, and they'll continue to do that despite wondering why this person over here is getting paid the exact same I am, or why the reward is exactly the same for less effort. But I bet more than likely, a lot of times what you'll see is their performance starts to diminish because now the standard is not theirs. The standard is what you accepted, which is the lowest common denominator. Or what you'll see in a lot of today's workplaces is they're going to go find a new place to work. They're going to go find a new employer that rewards them for being them and for going above and beyond. It does not treat them the exact same as the person that didn't perform. Right? And that could be a gray line or a slippery slope. People are like, oh, well, you can't, if you don't treat everybody equal, that's some form of discrimination. And I'm saying, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. Equal is the opportunity, regardless of what you look like, what you believe in, what political party, any of the shit that separates us right now. Equal just means you get a chance. Fair means, as a leader, I'm going to pay attention and reward those who are doing the things that I want done, the performance that we need. And I'm hold accountable the people that aren't living up to the standards, that aren't doing what we need to uplift the whole team. See, when we play to the lowest common denominator, well, then that becomes the standard for the team. That becomes what we'll accept from everybody. And I challenge you to raise the bar around you. Don't accept mediocrity because you think that's equal, but challenge that and go, wait a second, why am I accepting this? Why am I accepting this if I'm a boss at work, I'm a leader of people at work on a team? Why am I accepting this in relationships? Why would I tolerate lesser than just because I think I owe it to them to be equal to them? To be, everything has to be the same for everybody, despite some people giving me more in life, investing more in me. That friend that calls you to check on you, that shows up when you need them most, should have different access, should have different relationship with you than the one that you never hear from, that only calls you when you need them or when they need you. But now if we're equal, we're going to say, okay, everybody gets the same, right? And that just breeds mediocrity. And here's an example I have. When I was a policeman, we went into this whole, I forget what the fancy term was, but basically they created this new structure for evaluations. And it was designed to hide mediocre leaders, leaders that couldn't have difficult conversations, that couldn't say, hey, Jerrod, you're dropping the ball. I need you to perform better like your teammates, right? So what we didn't, because we didn't have those skills to have those conversations, we created this thing where every year around evaluation time, they created a structure where on your team, only one person could be rated a 5 out of 5. Only one person could be rated a 4 out of 5. One person could be rated 3 out of 5, which is average, right? So like one person could be the best, one person could be second best, and then the rest of the team had to be threes. That was the structure they created to manage the money for bonuses and raises. So what happened? What happened, right? So if you know you're going to be evaluated, but they've already created this structure, this artificial structure that says no matter what you're doing, no matter how good all of you on the team are, only one of you is going to be rated exceptional. One of you is going to be rated good, and everybody else just has to be meeting needs or meeting standards or acceptable, whatever you want to call it, because we got to manage the resource of what we're going to pay out. Well, what does that do for performance? Why would I go to Excel if I know you're going to categorize us in one of those 3 categories no matter what, and you got to meet certain numbers? So what would happen? We'd come in for our reviews, and literally our boss would start with, well, guys, you know I can only give one of you a 5. So this year, Jerrod, I'm going to give it to you because the 5 came with, say, a 3% bonus. And, well, now, number 2 here, you're going to get the 4, which comes with a 2% bonus. And, well, it's your turn this year to get a 3, so you're going to get a 1% pay raise. But then next year, we're going to switch it. So what's that tell you? It has nothing to do with how I'm actually performing. It has all to do with what you're managing. You're trying to be equal to give everybody the best raise once every 3 or 4 years, whatever your team size was. But in the meantime, that equality of trying to manage that thing, how unfair is that? If somebody is truly exceptional, if somebody is truly exceeding your needs, meeting the demands, going above and beyond, but because of an artificial thing to be equal, you're going to say I'm average for the year. Do I really want to perform? Do I really want to stay working here if that's the reward, right? If that's what I'm going to get out of going above and beyond, is to say, well, it's just not your turn to be exceptional. We're going to give you average so that the person next to you, who you're like, man, I'm working circles around this person, now gets to be exceptional, right? And that's one of the things for me that always drove me crazy, is that was designed to try to be equal, right? To give everybody gets to be a 5 at some point, but that's not the truth. We're not always going to be 5s. Not everybody's going to be the best in their field. So if I don't reward them, the ones that are truly doing that, if I don't reward them, I'm diminishing what they're doing, the impact, right? And people could say, well, you got to rotate that around and stuff. I don't. I think you got to have good leaders. And as good leaders, that means we have difficult conversations and we pull people in to say, hey, you're not carrying the load. You're not doing what you're supposed to do. This whole idea of being everything's equal, to me, is a scapegoat for poor leadership, for people that don't want to have difficult conversations. To say, hey, Jerrod, you're not pulling your end of the deal here. We need to step it up. Equal is an opportunity. We ensure everyone that we lead, that we impact, has the chance to excel. Fairness is in the performance. What do you do with that opportunity? Right? And that's how I look at when I lead people, when I get to talk about leadership, when I get to just reflect on my life. If my kids come to me, and we got 3 kids, and I have, say for argument, I have the $100 a share, and one kid's going exceptionally, doing everything, good grades, hard work, and all this stuff. One's kind of in the middle, like does it when they want to, but not all the time. And then one is just like, I'll let the other 2 do everything. I'll kind of hang out and play. Well, do I really want to split that money $33 apart for all 3 of them? No, to me, I would say I want to reward the one that's going above and beyond, recognize the one that is in the middle that's doing some of the stuff, but really encourage them to slide over to above and beyond, and let the person know that's not doing anything, that's relying upon everybody else to get stuff done, that, hey, that's not what we're after. And I'm not going to reward that behavior the same as I am on the other spectrum. And we have the same thing with employees, right? We have employees that go above and beyond, that study, that learn, that want to progress, that want to make something out of that career. I want to reward that. I want to let them know I see what they're doing, that I appreciate it, that I recognize it, and let the people that aren't doing that know, hey, this is what we want to see. Because when you do that, you raise the bar of expectation for everybody. So give that some thought this week. Let me know what you think in the DMs. I know a lot of people are like, oh, equal means everybody. And I'm just like, dude, that's not how I perform. And I don't think any high-performing team that I've ever been around, everybody's exactly the same. And one of my favorite people to read about and to study is Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordan, if you watch any of his interviews, if you watch The Last Dance, which is a fabulous documentary, you will see that he demanded excellence from everybody. And he didn't treat everybody the same. If you didn't earn his respect, he was going to be on you. And he was going to challenge you to step up because he knew what it took to be a champion, and he wanted people that were going to rise to the occasion around him. I like to think of that in life, right? Challenge the people that are around you to be who they said they're going to be who you need them to be. Don't accept mediocrity in your relationships. Don't accept mediocrity in the people that show up only when they need you. But then make sure we're also looking in that mirror and saying, hey, am I making the most of my opportunities? Am I making the most of the opportunities given to me with what I have right now? Or am I just settling for average and hoping people are going to treat me based on everybody gets the same versus based on what I've earned, right? Earn what we want. Earn what we keep. Earn the opportunity to give. So give that some thought this week. I'd love to know what you hear. And as always, I thank you for being here. Have a great week.